Hey everyone, it's Ankur Kumar. I work for a consulting company called Publicis Sapient, and I'm going to share a transformation journey of a wealth management portal in today's session. So let's get started. I just wanted to give you a glimpse of my career journey. I've been with the industry for 22 plus years. Started as a Java programmer. I have been a speaker in several different tech conferences, and I'm a blogger on different platforms. And you can follow me on Twitter or GitHub or LinkedIn. So this journey has been very close to my heart because I've been involved from day one as a chief architect of this journey over the course of almost 4 years, and in during those 4 years, kind of used many different open source cloud native as well as different solutions to achieve what business was looking for. So, if you're not familiar with wealth management, just a quick intro. We all have been using, in some shape or form, wealth management systems, but for our advisor, it's mostly an investment or advisory service, which they serve to different types of clients on need basis. So, an advisor, just to give you a glimpse of two different personas as part of the wealth management journey. One is the advisor who understands, your financial planning aspect, who identifies a prospect who wants to invest in a financial, say, suite of instruments, and who builds the relationship with the prospect, make him or her a client, and then starts the whole financial planning process, retirements, college fund, and whatnot. So the journey is very, kind of a collaborative, and it's a continuous journey. So they need to constantly interact with the client, manage the portfolio, and keep advising on need basis. From the client perspective, they also want to trust the advisors, share their financial information, view the details of what the investment portfolio have, how they are exchanging information with their advisor securely. Can they access their information on real-time basis or on time basis? And so those are kind of, and with new business, a new, you can say, patterns emerging like robo-advisory, where advisors, you don't even have human advisors involved. That system will tell you what is your wealth portfolio or how you should adjust it. So from client perspective, there are different, again, mechanism available to interact with the wealth management system or wealth management portal in this case. So I'll just start with a quote from one of the advisors, is that if whatever technology, as a technologist, we try to build the best we can, but if the technology can't help in serving the advisor clients, so it's no useful. So want to start with that. To keep that in mind, when we started building that, is that our key focus areas were in four different dimensions, like how do we increase the operational efficiency of the platform during the whole business journeys we are going to talk about. How do we make sure the platform is scalable, extensible, available, and for the making sure that, when you have millions of clients logging into the platform, how can you make sure the platform is stable? Then the third aspect is the user experience, how you are ensuring the collaboration happens between advisor and client, how both are collaborating on the platform, they have the good experience. And at the same time, you're also launching new business capabilities, because it's a very competitive field. If you're not launching capabilities, you're going to lag behind from your competition. So the outcome businesses was looking for as part of this platform was, how can you reduce the time to market, cost of ownership, better brand positioning, and all. So just to keep those business objective in mind, we started our journey, started defining technology and architecture stack, how you can leverage microservices, Spring ecosystem, open source, and different cloud native technology, as well as how you're offering the enriched experience with the accelerated delivery. So again, one of the my favorite quote is, do the best what you know. When you know better, you can do better, right? So it's a continuous learning journey. That's the key message. You can't build everything on day one. So with that note, we started our journey, and one of the key aspects of the journey is that how do you think about not only engineering aspect, like technology engineering is one pillar. How do you start thinking from the strategy perspective? How do you and there are different set of stakeholders and different set of experts involved in this whole process. So with customer experience, engineering, product, and strategy are the two or four pillars on which we need to make sure that it all emerges as to make this whole program successful. It's very important. So just wanted to highlight that before we go deep dive into any other thing. So having said that, just to give you a glimpse of business capabilities, which we started cataloging as part of this initiative, that uh, this is a combination of capabilities which we wanted to build, and different, and our product team helped build that matrix, just to make sure that you have the business context first. If you recall the domain driven design, it requires you to understand what business problem or business context you have before you actually jump into the problem. So with that, we started streamlining. We started our journey in 2018. So we started streamlining how we'll go and how we will tackle the MVPs first, and what will be our path of execution. So at the core of it, our key approach was how do you inculcate engineering mindset from the day one, and to do that, again, technology and engineering, to make sure that we are ready for the cloud. We were not initially on the cloud, so we wanted to make sure we are ready for the cloud. We are using the right microservices and quality based architecture. We were also making sure that we have the right product and customer experience mindset, and we are continuously evolving in terms of how we are building the capability, as well as how we are governing and make sure we are meeting all the business objective, right? So once all those fundamental tenets are there, we kind of started making sure that we have the right architecture principles in consideration. So open source, vendor neutral, and cloud native were three pillars we started looking for when we started talking about the technology stack or the solution landscape. So these were the key pillars on which we wanted to make sure that our solution or our system is based upon. And some of the other elements which are kind of ensuring that our user experience is composable. You promote a lot of self-service capability, so that you are using automation, and you're using a workflow slash kind of a system-based flow, and using the typical API first approach, and making sure the developer productivity is under consideration. So all these different principles we have started with to make sure our foundation is right. So with that mindset, I'm just gonna, considering the confidentiality of the client, we can't share all the details, but this is a very high level architecture view where we had the advisor portal centric view and the client centric view from the client portal perspective. Then we had a API orchestration layer built on to expose the API and API aggregation service from the core API layer, where core API layer was built using the microservices, different services. And then we had caching and messaging to support the microservices, that how they are communicating with each other. And then we have a system of record layer, which is talking to different systems, fetching the data, and microservices are, fetching the data from all these different systems. And then there are cross-cutting concerns that you need to enable, like whether observability and monitoring and logging is correct, security is correct. Auditing is a very important aspect in a financial application. So you need to make sure security is also, and CI/CD DevOps practices are in place. So these were the foundational tenets of the architecture we started with. So one thing which I just want to make sure that before you understand that how we came up with the architecture, we started putting together some building blocks, like foundational building blocks, that and starting from the bottom is that how do you manage the compute infrastructure layer? How do you make sure the container orchestration happens, and what is the right runtime engine on top of it? And then how do you are ensuring that there is a technology like container registry available, ensuring the security is happening and secrets management happening, and CI/CD pipeline happening on top of it. And then the observability, release management, analytics, all those things are the core foundational building blocks. And although initially we were not on Kubernetes, we were on Rancher. So it's now Rancher supports Kubernetes, and when we started, building that architecture, we were using Kubernetes. Then we eventually started migrating towards it. And on top of it, the last building block is your application, which is standing up on these basic tenets. So with this frame as a reference, you can see that from architecture perspective, we have started leveraging a lot of these different technologies. And as you can see, is that Spring has an Angular where the key technologies in architecture from application perspective, we started using Elastic for all the caching and searching capabilities, and Redis also for caching, Postgres for database, MuleSoft for API management. Then we used observability New Relic and a lot of cloud native tools. You can see Jenkins and Kubernetes as we started migrating later on. But this is how I'm mapping all those different layers. And from cloud perspective, making sure that we are using, initially it was on-prem, and then we started migrating to AWS. So with that basic building blocks in consideration, we started moving towards, the more stable, more the wealth management portal which we wanted to build. So one thing which was very critical in this whole journey was the integration. And why? Because you can't build all those capabilities which we have seen in that capability matrix, if you remember, by building it and then meeting the timelines. So we started integrating with a lot of vendor capabilities and vendor, you can say, systems, and bringing some of the capabilities which are mostly like it's typical build versus buy. So we brought those technologies. So integrating with, in some cases you have to do SSOs, some cases you have to integrate using API, in some cases you need to use event-driven integration or messages-based integration, and some are legacy. And then we were looking for what is the right framework, and we built a in-house, you can say, integration framework built on top of Spring, because Spring was the only solution which we could find at that point, which will meeting different use cases which were for these different complex vendor integration. So if you look at, if you have seen the EI patterns which are available, and there is a reference that there are more than 30 patterns, and we kind of used a lot of these patterns when integrating with different vendors and different scenarios. So you can see, and Spring ecosystem supports a lot of these patterns, so that really helped us to accelerate some of these journeys. So the other way to look around is, instead of reinventing the whole wheel and trying to figure out and building some of these capabilities and trying to do research in different industry or technology domain, what is the best fit? I feel that Spring ecosystem provides you a kind of a reference model, right? Reference architecture, where you can choose these technology which with confidence, and especially with financial services, where you don't want to risk taking something which introduces security vulnerabilities and all that. So the highlighted in blue, we started integrating because they were out of the box available. We were easy to get the skill set available in the market, and they were meeting the demands of the scalability, availability, integration, and the cloud native nature of it helped us to build it and make sure that we are ready for cloud for tomorrow when we'll move these applications to the AWS, right? So Spring ecosystem, I really love the way how we have the support available from the community, and you don't have to look out for different vendors for each of the different solutions. And the integration of all these components is also one thing I just want to highlight. It was much more easier to integrate. For example, if I'm using Spring Cloud Gateway or Spring messaging, it's easier to integrate these with your Spring Boot based microservices and all. So that really helped us to make sure that we are using something similar, not that we're trying to, and keep it simple as well. So with that, one thing which um, platform engineering is, you must have hearing all these things in recent time, and we started with the DevOps mindset, and then we started moving towards platform engineering approach, and a lot of these things happened over the course of a few years, but just wanted to highlight a few of the things which we did as part of the journey. And from dev side, we did redesign search, which we initially built. We did improve the ingestion approach for how we were sending the data to the search. We built the feature toggle functionality. All this is something which is, a lot of these technology were made possible by using the open source and different technologies that we just talked about. From operations perspective, again, like the observability dashboard using New Relic and some of the DORA metrics like SRE metrics, the golden signals, which we call them, we kind of started tracking those and ensuring that we have the right alerts available, synthetic monitoring is set up, and all that. So this maturity, it started building in the team itself. So with that, we started moving. We moved from when we started, we were doing some manual builds, and we moved to the automated one. We started to make sure that we are using the efficient, productive tools, keep the team high performing, and from more collaborative engineering side. So with all that technology and architecture and uh, the uh, the whole ecosystem, the most important aspect is what impact we created. And I just want to quote one of the advisors' feedback after the few releases, that they were very happy about how the platform was able to meet their demands, launched new features quickly, and their clients were very happy to use that platform. So we have been able to onboard 20,000 plus advisor, 10 million plus clients, different broker dealers in financial services space, and then made lot of engineering based, you can say, releases possible, where we brought the market launch for almost like every on-demand basis, eventually when we were reaching that maturity. So this is just the beginning. If you want to reach out to me for further details, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn and Twitter, and happy to engage in any conversation. And thank you so much for listening to me.